Good evening, people. Welcome back to Daily Red Devil for all of your latest Manchester United transfer news and talk. And as always, we're back with another massive show to bring you all this evening. But before we jump into that, please do smash a like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel if you are new, and let's get straight on into it. So in the show tonight, we're going to be talking a little bit about Antony. There is an update surrounding his situation. We're also going to be talking about Jadon Sancho and whether Manchester United could be potentially fined by the PFA over the handling of Jadon Sancho. We're also going to be talking about a new contract for Erik ten Hag, which is being discussed today in the UK press. Lots and lots to get into. As always, please do get involved in the comments section. Let me know your thoughts on everything we discuss on today's show, and let's get straight on into it. So let's start off the show with this story that's come out in the last couple of hours from two different journalists in the UK saying the following. They report, Manchester United are planning to open talks over a new contract for Erik ten Hag. Richard Arnold and John Murtough are very happy with him and continue to give him their full backing. Now, I want to open this part of the show up to you to let me know what your thoughts are in relation to Erik ten Hag. Do you think that Manchester United should be offering him a new contract? For me, I think we should. I do. I have no doubt in Erik ten Hag whatsoever. The only reason why I wouldn't give Erik ten Hag a new contract, okay, is if potentially the club had already been sold. This is hypothetical, so hear me out here. If the club had already been sold, right, so say Sheikh Jassim has already bought the club and it hasn't been announced yet, and Sheikh Jassim says, I don't want Erik ten Hag, I want X, Y, and Z. I wouldn't agree with that personally, and I don't think the majority of the fan base would agree with that either. But that's the only outlook at the moment where I would say that Erik ten Hag doesn't need a new contract. Now, people are probably saying, why would we give him a new contract? He already has a contract and all the rest of it. I get it. Erik ten Hag has, he's got about 18 months left on his current contract at the moment, which is still a very long time. I get that, but it's not that long if you're wanting somebody to be here for the next however long to actually build a team and to build a philosophy. But let me know what you guys think of that. I know obviously new contracts are a little bit of a touchy subject. I know a lot of people think that why would we give someone a new contract when he still has some contract? Let's see what people are saying in the chat about it. Simon says we should wait until the season is over. No new contract. It always ends in tears. For God's sake, it's like the kiss of death. I know what you mean. I somewhat agree with you, and I think that he's definitely the right man for the job, right? 100%. I have no doubt about that whatsoever. But it's not like anybody else is coming in for him at this moment in time, you know? It's not like there's other clubs knocking on the door for Erik ten Hag and that we're having to tie him down to a new contract in order to keep him at Manchester United. Obviously, if that was the case, that would be a completely different scenario. But as it stands, we're the only people, obviously, who Erik ten Hag is wanted by. You know, Barcelona have a manager, Bayern Munich have a manager, all the other top clubs around Europe have managers. Things can change quite quickly, you know? If Barcelona, say, parted ways with Xavi, I don't know why they would do that, but maybe they would come in for Erik ten Hag. Again, this is completely hypothetical. But at this moment in time, as of today, we are the only real option for Erik ten Hag, you know? And I mean, maybe, I'm just literally giving you different possibilities here. Potentially, if the Ajax manager got sacked, is there a world where Ajax try and get him back? He would never go if Manchester United wanted to keep him, but I'm just giving you a couple of examples. I don't think there's many clubs in world football at the moment who are looking for a manager. And I think we do have one of the best managers in world football with Erik ten Hag. You know, obviously Pep Guardiola, Jurgen Klopp are obviously levels above, but they've been at their clubs for way longer than what Erik ten Hag is. So for me, I think he does need a new contract. It's just whether we do it now or whether we wait until the new owners come in. Richie says Real Madrid are going to be after Erik ten Hag when Carlo Ancelotti goes to join the Brazilian national team. I mean, that is obviously a possibility. Carlo Ancelotti, when is he taking the Brazil job? Let me check that. So he's going to be there for the 2024 Copa America. So does that mean that he's going to leave at the end of the season? If anybody knows in the chat, let me know. I'm just trying to work it out now. Next summer. So yeah, in about a year's time, well, less than that, in about June next year, 2024, Real Madrid are going to part ways with Ancelotti, and he will go to manage the Brazilian national team. I don't know. I mean, obviously that is a possibility, isn't there? I'm just having a look. Yeah, so I don't know who the new Real Madrid manager is going to be. I mean, is there a potential for De Zerbi to be the manager? I mean, if he keeps doing well at Brighton, is that a possibility? I don't know what the odds are. I'm just going to have a quick look, actually, because that was a good point that somebody's raised in the chat. So the next permanent manager, the odds are, at the moment, And let me know what you guys think. I know this isn't a Real Madrid channel, but it's a good topic to talk about. So apparently at the moment, number 1 odds are Raul. Second is Nagelsmann. Third, Zinedine Zidane. Fourth, Jose Mourinho. Fifth, Didier Deschamps. So those are the 5 current top targets for Real Madrid for the new manager position. Let me know what you think about that one. I don't think he'll go to I don't think he'll go to Real Madrid personally, but you never know. I think De Zerbi would be a good manager at Real Madrid. Kenneth says Alonso's going to Real Madrid. Simon says Ten Hag is in love with Barca. They're his dream club. Lumen says, Kieran, don't get too carried away with the Carabao Cup performance. Look, I just want to remind you back to when we lost 3-0 to Brighton, or 3-1 or whatever it was. I still said that Erik ten Hag was the right man for the job. So just be very, very clear here. I'm not saying give Erik ten Hag a new contract because he's just beat Crystal Palace in the League Cup. Crystal Palace are a decent side though, so let's not take it away from him. 3-0, the most convincing performance of the season. I do think he's the best manager available for Manchester United at this time. And if he does need a new contract, whether it's... The thing you always have to remember as well, right, with contracts is sometimes it's just rewarding the manager for doing well. So it might be that he has 18 months left on his contract, right? And he might sign a 3-year contract, but just on higher wages. I mean, Erik ten Hag is earning so much less than some of the other players at Manchester United. And is this potentially creating a bit of an issue with some of the players, you know? Erik ten Hag... I mean, when I say only, people are going to be like, well, that's still so much money. But Erik ten Hag is only paid 160 grand per week, okay? 160. He was earning... and then when you think that Jadon Sancho's on 350, Rashford's on 300, Casemiro's on 300, Varane's on 300, De Gea was on 375. Erik ten Hag's earning less than half of what Jadon Sancho is earning, and Jadon Sancho is just playing FIFA and not coming to training. So when you look at it like that, I think from a financial perspective, he definitely does deserve more money because he's been an absolute breath of fresh air since he's joined Manchester United, a year ago now, year and a bit ago. TSZ says Nagelsmann is the Germany manager. Yes, but I think that's just for the Euros next season, isn't it? I don't think it's forever. I think he's just gone there for the Euros, Nagelsmann. Chris says, I can't deal with these toxic fans. They're clueless to the club's reality. I'm not sure what you're talking about, mate, to be honest. Let me know what you're talking about. You're starting to touch on the real problem at the club. I'm not sure what you're talking about, mate. Let me know what you're talking about and I'll happily read it out and have that conversation, but I'm not sure what you are trying to say. Fred says he's not going anywhere like the Glazers. Carl says De Zerbi is headhunted by Madrid, rumours say. Yeah, I think De Zerbi will be a great manager for Real Madrid, but let's wait and see what happens with that one. Let's see how this story develops. The new contract has been being talked about for quite some time, so let's see how this materialises and let's see whether Erik ten Hag does sign this new contract. Now, let's move over to the story about Jadon Sancho. There's 2 parts of this story. One's coming out from Rob Dawson and the other is coming out from the Mirror. They are reporting this afternoon that Manchester United are confident that they have not broken any FIFA rules following the decision to have Jadon Sancho train alone and will continue to await an apology from him. Rob Dawson goes on to say that Erik ten Hag has the full support of the club regarding Jadon Sancho, including Rich Arnold, John Murtough, and that the legal implications have been considered. The PFA have stressed that Manchester United are required to provide an adequate standard of training for Jadon Sancho. The club believe they have respected this by assigning specialist coaches to work alongside him. So what this story is saying this afternoon, or at least what this story is hinting at, is that there is this possibility that how Manchester United are treating Jadon Sancho by banishing from the first team, not letting him go in the canteen, all of these different things could potentially be a breach of contract or a breach of what is expected, you know, the player's expectations are when he comes to Manchester United. Now, I think it's a little bit rich that this is the way that this has been spun, you know. It should be, is Jadon Sancho going to be fined wages? Not a Manchester United going to get in trouble with FIFA and with the PFA over the handling of Jadon Sancho. I think it's a little bit rich for me personally. I don't know where this story's coming from, as in like who's pushing this story, but it is what's being reported today that both FIFA and the PFA are exploring the situation with Jadon Sancho to see if Manchester United are handling him in the correct way, by way of, are they giving him adequate training, all the rest of it, because ultimately he's not part of the first team. He's not in the, you know, he's not allowed in any of the areas where the first team are at the moment. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens with that one. Carl says how he trains with the under-21s. They have a good standard. Apparently he is, I mean, this story says that he's training individually now. It says, It says that they have assigned Jadon Sancho specialist coaches to work alongside him. So, I mean, this is almost implying that he's actually training on his own, though, that he's not even training with the under-21s anymore. But we'll have to wait and see. Kenneth says all it needs to solve this is an apology. I mean, it's so easy, isn't it? We saw Cristiano Ronaldo last season storm off the pitch, walk down the tunnel after he got subbed. Within 24 hours, he issues an apology to his players, to the fans, and to the manager, and then he's back in the squad. I mean, it's that simple, isn't it? And that's Cristiano Ronaldo, the greatest player, my favourite player of all time in my lifetime. Obviously, I'm only in my late 20s, so I wasn't alive for the Maradonas and all the... Well, maybe I was, but I was very young. Yeah, so I don't really get how, if Cristiano Ronaldo can apologise after walking off the pitch, going down the tunnel, apologise to the fans, to the players, to the manager, which you rightly so should. I know people get emotional in football matches. It's, professional athletes, they get frustrated, tensions rise and things happen. But an apology is all that it takes. It's simple, isn't it? And the most important bit of this story for me is that this bit, that Erik ten Hag has the full support of the club regarding Jadon Sancho, including from Richard Arnold and John Murtough, who are obviously the CEO and the director of football, and that the legal implications have been considered. So the club are 100% backing Jadon Sancho, and he's not going to back down. We're about 3 months away now from when the January transfer window opens. Do we just have a standoff until January? That's obviously a possibility. I don't know what I want from this situation now, to be completely honest. But let me know what you guys think in the comments section. How do you think this story is going to go? Let me know what your thoughts are on that. And everyone who's just joined in the last couple of minutes, please do smash a like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel if you are new. We're on the road to 20k subscribers, so let's see how quickly we can hit that next target. Right. Let's move on to the next story, though. Let's talk a little bit about Antony. Now, this one's coming out from various different journalists in the UK that apparently Antony is now returning to the UK. He is back in the UK. He's been in Brazil for the last 2 or 3 weeks, whenever since these allegations came up against him. The story says Antony is now returning to England as he faces police in the coming days to defend himself against allegations made against him. Right, so obviously he had allegations over in Brazil, which apparently he's been, what's the word? He's been helping with. I can't think of the word, but you know what I mean. He's been assisting the investigations in Brazil. The Brazilian authorities are satisfied with the answers he's given, and he's now travelled back to the UK. He will be back in Manchester. Whether or not he'll be training with the Manchester United squad, I'm not entirely sure. But apparently he's coming back to speak with the Greater Manchester Police, because some of the alleged victims have also pressed charges, opened a court case, whatever you want to call it, against Antony in the UK as well. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with that one. We'll have to wait and see how long it will be before Antony is back on the pitch. But Antony is officially back in the UK. He's back in Manchester. And we'll, of course, keep you updated on whether he's going to be part of the team by way of training. I don't know. I'm not sure what the rules are around that. I know Manchester United will be very, very careful about how they handle this situation, because if you think about it, right, imagine you're Mason Greenwood. You're going to be watching this situation very, very closely, especially his lawyers, his managers, all of the people that are surrounding him, because if they think that Mason Greenwood has been dealt with any different to how Antony is, they would be within their right to probably press legal action against Manchester United. So United have to be incredibly careful, clever, whatever you want to call it, on how they next approach this situation with Antony. Now, my understanding of this is he'll come back, he'll help with their inquiries, as Fred says in the chat, help with their inquiries, and hopefully then he'll be back on the pitch in the next couple of weeks, because that's what we need. We desperately need Antony back. I know Pellistri looked good last night, but if we get any more injuries in that squad, we're going to be in big, big trouble. Let's see what people are saying in the chat, though. Someone says we should bid for Victor Osimhen in January. I mean, I would absolutely love to see Victor Osimhen at Manchester United. I love Osimhen, one of my favourite players in world football. I'm not sure, though. I don't think we will go for Victor Osimhen personally. I think he's going to go to Chelsea. I just have this feeling. But we'll have to wait and see what happens with Victor Osimhen. Do let me know in the comment section, guys. Do you think Manchester United should be looking at someone like Osimhen? I think if we get new owners, Sheikh Jassim, I think someone like Osimhen would be a target. Whether or not it will be in January or not, I'm not entirely sure. Maybe if we got rid of some players, we might be in the market for someone like that. If Anthony Martial went, Scott McTominay, Harry Maguire, Donny van der Beek, if we raise some funds, then maybe bringing in someone like Victor Osimhen would be a decent option. I just don't know whether we'd get the money for it. Obviously, the situation with Osimhen and Napoli is absolutely toxic. If anybody's seen what Napoli did Like, I honestly cannot believe the TikTok videos that official Napoli TikTok account posted. Like, I'm not going to talk about it because I think it's personally, obviously, from my perspective of watching it, I think it was on the verge of being, well, it was completely unacceptable. It was, and Osimhen's agents and lawyers are apparently about to press legal action against him. He's deleted all of the pictures of him wearing the Napoli shirt off his Instagram. It's an absolutely terrible situation. If you want to go and find out what these videos were, you're welcome to do that. But I'm not gonna kind of spread the stuff on here because I just think it's actually quite horrible what they posted. And I'm not talking about the one about the penalty. Like, the one about the penalty, I'll tell you, but the other one that was posted, I think you have to go and find yourself. But the one about the penalty, it's like them mimicking him, saying, "Please give me a penalty, please give me a penalty." And then he misses the penalty, and it's all like, ooh, like crying. It's like something a child would post. It's very, very weird. Kyle says Osimhen is in a problem with Napoli. He could be a good idea. Yeah, 100%. I would love to see him. Daz says Osimhen will end up at Real Madrid. Yeah. Amy says I'm not on TikTok. I'm not on TikTok either. I just saw it on Twitter. Bjorn says there's a team/person working for the social media department in Napoli that needs to be fired. 100%. Somebody says that was truly demeaning and disrespectful. Yeah, it was horrible. It really, really was. Chris says, how are we bidding on Osimhen under the new ownership? Seriously, that's laughable and reinforces my statement that certain fans have no clue of the state of the club. Well, Chris, I'll explain to you how we can bid for Osimhen very, very quickly. So, Manchester United, under the Glazers, spend around £70 million per season, leveraging the debt that the Glazers put on us, okay? The second that Sheikh Jassim comes into the club, he's going to clear that debt, which means he's going to pay it all off out of his own money. In the summer, The Athletic, multiple other massive platforms reported that apparently if Sheikh Jassim came in and cleared the debt immediately, in last summer's window alone, it would have given us an extra 40 to 50 million pounds within the financial fair play restraints. 40 to 50 million already, okay? 2 or 3 other players who probably are going to leave, I reckon, either in January or in the summer. Jadon Sancho, I mean, let's just say we get 20 million for him. That would be low. 20 million for Sancho. 30 million for McTominay. That was what we were offered before. I think we would take that now. 30 million for Maguire. That's 80 million pounds. Plus the 50 million that we get from clearing the debt. That's 130 million pounds. So I pretty much just worked out for you very, very quickly there. That took me about 30 seconds. So I hope that helps. Chris says, under the Glazers, not new ownership. Yeah, obviously we're not going to get Osimhen under the Glazers. Never. That's never going to happen. Richie says, Sir Jim Ratcliffe is coming. Stop promoting Sheikh Jassim. I mean, obviously you're entitled to your opinion. For me personally, I mean, we've gone off on a bit of a tangent here, but that's fine. It's a place where we can all have a chat and have a conversation. I just don't see the attraction for Sir Jim Ratcliffe. I just don't get it personally. He wants to buy half the club. He wants to keep the Glazers. He doesn't want to build a new stadium. He doesn't want to clear the debt. We know that he doesn't have the money. He's already failed the project with Nice. He doesn't invest money in that. What is the attraction of Sir Jim Ratcliffe other than that he's from Manchester and that he's a British billionaire? Like, I don't see whatever other attractions there are for me personally. Whereas, you look at Qatar, they want to clear the debt. They want to build a new stadium. They want to, invest in the team. They want to buy all of the club. They want to get rid of the Glazers. I mean, when you compare the two, it's uncomparable for me. Like, it's uncomparable, but it's completely up to you, Chris says Glazers won't be fined by January, and if Sir Jim Ratcliffe comes, the club is just as doomed as the Glazer ownership. Yeah, 100%. I 100% agree with you, mate. Yeah, 1,000%. If the Glazers come in, if Sir Jim Ratcliffe comes in, you're not going to get Osimhen. You'd be lucky to get someone like Antony, and even then, I think that would be a push. Jihan says Sir Jim Ratcliffe can't afford to buy the club. He's making out that he can. Yeah, I mean, who knows? The thing is, though, that you have to remember, right, Jihan? People say that Sir Jim Ratcliffe doesn't have money, okay? Sir Jim Ratcliffe does have money. And the thing that you have to remember is that he's buying it through his company, Ineos. Ineos have a lot of money. Like, let's have a look at Ineos's net worth quickly. I know net worth isn't everything, but just for the sake of... I mean, Sir Jim Ratcliffe's net worth in 2023 was $21 billion. And that's his personal net worth, I believe. And his company, Ineos, is worth... I mean, it says here that his net worth went from 6.7 billion to 29.6 billion in the last year. So he definitely does have money. It's just whether he wants to invest all of that money into Manchester United. And it depends how much of that money is liquid or how much of that money is tied up in assets. That's what we have to remember. Vikram says, why would Osman come to Manchester United? He would have much better options from a career perspective for him. Yeah, I mean, obviously Real Madrid would probably be the best option for Victor Osimhen, but we know that Real Madrid want Kylian Mbappe. So if Victor Osimhen went to Real Madrid, you're definitely not going to get Kylian Mbappe going there as well. Simon says Sir Jim Ratcliffe coming in changes nothing. I agree. Richie says Jim is worth 30 billion at the latest, and he can't afford it. Clueless. The thing is, Richie, that you have to remember, right? I could say that I'm worth £10 million, but it needs to be available in his bank account. That's the problem with Sir Jim Ratcliffe. He doesn't have the money in liquid form. His money is tied up in Ineos. It's tied up in his companies. Let's have a look then, shall we? How much money does Sir Jim Ratcliffe have? I mean, this is going to... liquid. Because that's the most important thing here. So it says, with his business interests added to the pot, he is understood to be worth around 15 billion. That was last year, and it's gone up to 30 billion this year. I mean, we can't find out how much money he's got liquid, but it's all good and well you saying he has 30 billion, but that will be shares in Ineos. So what, you're telling me that he's going to sell Ineos to invest the money into Manchester United? He's not going to do that. He won't. You have to remember, right, it's liquid cash that they need, because otherwise Ineos will go to the bank and they'll borrow money, and that's how it will be. You need money. That's the thing with Sheikh Jassim. They just have money. They have liquid cash to throw around. Sir Jim Ratcliffe doesn't. He's a very wealthy person. He's a very successful person, but he doesn't have the money just sitting in his bank account to go and spend. We know that. Otherwise, he would have bought all of the club. He was going to take a loan out to buy the 50% of the club. He wasn't going to use his own money. You do realise that, right? Why would he take a loan for £3 billion if he had that amount of money liquid to spend? He wouldn't. Richie says, Sheikh Jassim is worth 1.6 billion. The rest is state funded. Wake up. So are you saying that you just don't want Sheikh Jassim because it might be state funded? Now, this is more of a better question. We could go off all day debating about how much money Sheikh Jassim and Sir Jim Ratcliffe have in their bank. And in all honesty, none of us know, okay? All we know is what's been put out in the public. And for me, what Sir Jim Ratcliffe offers is not good for Manchester United. That's my opinion. If you have a different one, that's up to you. Fred, this is a good question, and thank you for bringing in a more level opinion to this conversation. Fred says, if both bidders offered exactly the same as Qatar's, who would you choose then? Now, that's a good question, and that's a question I like, and I'll ask that back to the chat, okay? So say Sir Jim Ratcliffe knocks on the door tomorrow and offers 5 billion for 100% of the club. He's going to get rid of the Glazers, and he's going to clear the debt, and he's going to build the new stadium. You know what? I would go with Sir Jim Ratcliffe. I'll say it there, because he would be offering the same thing as what Sheikh Jassim's offering. I have no personal love for Sheikh Jassim. I know nothing about the man, okay? But on what planet does somebody coming in, buying half of a football club, keeping the Glazers, keeping the debt, and not pledging to build a new stadium or do whatever it is with the stadium sound better? It doesn't. And that's why I'm saying I don't want Sir Jim Ratcliffe. But if tomorrow he comes in and says, I'll offer exactly the same as Sheikh Jassim, the stadium's coming, I'll invest in the team, I'll do all of these things, I think it would be good to get Sir Jim Ratcliffe. Why not? It's a cool story. A person from Manchester who came from nothing and owns the biggest club in the world. I mean, that's a great story. But yeah, Irvin says, I still want Qatar because I know Sir Jim Ratcliffe's plan now. Simon says Ratcliffe's sporting ventures are a mess as well. I mean, I haven't even gone down all of those angles either. RJ says if it was the same bid, then yes. Yeah, let me know if it was exactly the same, right? If both parties were offering exactly the same thing on the table, would you go for Sheikh Jassim or would you go for Sir Jim Ratcliffe? Carl says Qatar for the long run, steady money, no drama. Yeah, that's fair enough. The thing as well that you have to remember with Sir Jim Ratcliffe, now I don't want to go off on too much of a tangent here, right? But Sir Jim Ratcliffe is 70 years of age, okay? What happens when Sir Jim Ratcliffe dies? Like, obviously I'm not saying he's going to die in the next couple of years, but he's 70, right? How old is Sheikh Jassim? Sheikh Jassim is 44. I mean, there's all of these things that you have to consider, right? Say Sir Jim Ratcliffe comes in and he does this incredible job, but Ineos owns Manchester United, but it's Sir Jim Ratcliffe heading it up. and then he dies in 10 years, and then it just goes back to Ineos, and then all of their shareholders are just running Manchester United. What do we do then? You know? Like, those are all the things you have to consider. So yeah, that's why I just think that the Qatar proposal all around is just way more better for Manchester United. Whether it's, you know, the human rights things, all of those things, we can have that whole debate on another show if you want to. Obviously, neither party are 100% okay. You know, you've got greenwashing on Sir Jim Ratcliffe's side. You've got all the sports washing on Qatar's side. Like, both of them have their flaws. But yeah, obviously everyone's entitled to their opinion. I'm not gonna judge people on what people's opinions are. Thomas says, where do you get your information from? So all of the information that we speak about on this show is from Twitter, okay? There are multiple accounts on Twitter that post all of the news, which I follow, and then I bring to the show. So all of the information that we get on this channel, as I've said to you guys many times before, I'm not a journalist, okay? I'm just a football fan who speaks in front of a webcam with this community, and we talk about Manchester United. All of this information is available for any of you guys to find yourselves. I'm not getting this, you know, handed to me secretly, and I've never pretended that I have. I'm not going to pretend that I have inside sources, because I don't. All of this information is available publicly on the internet for you to find yourself. But thank you for the question. That's no problem whatsoever. Simon says, no billionaire is squeaky clean. Exactly that. Right, let's move on to the next story, though. Let's keep things moving. We went off on a bit of a tangent there, but that is the whole point of this show. If people want to talk about a specific thing, then I have no issue with letting the chat kind of narrate the direction. Right, let's move on. But yeah. And just to end that bit of the show, right, the most important thing for me is what I think is best for Manchester United, okay? That is the most important thing for me. And I think that Sheikh Jassim's offer is the best thing for Manchester United. In my opinion, if your opinion differs, if in 5 years' time Sheikh Jassim's here and it all goes terribly and we all said, and you can laugh at me and say, why did you say it? You know, then I'll own it. I have no issue with that. But where I'm sat now, as a football fan who has just as much information as you, I'm not, you know, any better than any of you. My opinion is that Sheikh Jassim is better from a footballing perspective. And obviously, if you have a different opinion, that is completely fine. Now, let's move on to something more positive, all right? Because we've spoken about this for quite some time. And I want to just highlight and give a massive shout out to Hannibal Mejbri, right? Hannibal last night covered 12.9 kilometers in the game against Crystal Palace. It says that he covered more ground than any other player on the pitch, more than any other United player this season, and more than any United player since Ten Hag arrived at the club. That is absolutely mental. Crazy. So big ups to Hannibal. And also yesterday, he broke the record for the most pressures. So that's putting pressure on players when the opposition have the ball per 90 minutes in the Premier League this season, okay? He put 100, he did it 100 times. The highest one below that was Ryan Christie at 76 times. Absolutely mental. So big ups to Hannibal. And there is a story coming out in the last couple of minutes that this contract for Hannibal is looking closer and closer to being signed. So we will talk about that a little bit in a minute. And I want you guys to let me know, do you think Hannibal deserves a new contract? At the moment, he's only on £5,000 per week, which I know sounds like a lot of money to me or you, but for somebody who is playing for Manchester United now, he started 2 games in a row, is a quality player. Some would argue better than McTominay. Some would argue he's better than Eriksen. I probably would. Obviously, Eriksen's had a way, better career over the last 10 years. But at this point in time, I would say Hannibal is more what Manchester United need by way of his athleticism, by way of how he plays, and by way of what he brings to this team. Simon says, I still don't think Hannibal is United standard. My opinion. That's completely fine. As I said, I do not judge people's opinions on this channel. We can talk about it. Yeah, fair enough. That's completely fine. I'm going to get a poll set up quickly because we have just hit our like target for the video. Everybody who's just joined in the last couple of minutes, please do smash a like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel if you are new. I'm going to get a poll set up now. And the question is going to be this, all right? So the question's going to be, I'm going to ask you lot, the audience, if Sheikh Jassim and Sir Jim offer the exact same for United, clear all debt, new stadium, etc. Who do you pick? Okay, cool. Let's okay, so it says if Sheikh Jassim or Sir Jim Ratcliffe offer the same for United, clear all the debt, Glazer, no Glazer. Sorry about this. I'm just getting the... If Sheikh Jassim and Sergeant Ratcliffe offer, same for United. Clear all debt, new stadium, no Glazers. Sergeant Ratcliffe, Sheikh Jassim. Okay, cool. Right. I've just got the poll going. Sorry that took me a couple of minutes. I just wanted to word it so if anybody joins who doesn't know what we've been talking about, they can kind of get involved without having any confusion. Yeah, get involved in the poll and let me know in the comment section what your reasons are. Let's see what people are saying in the chat. Irvin says, stop giving out contracts. Let's build a team first. I kind of agree with you, to be honest, but I just think that, you know, somebody's on £5,000 a week. I think he deserves a new contract, definitely. When you've got people like Rashford, Sancho, all of these people on ridiculous amounts of money. He did nearly leave the club in the summer as well, you have to remember, Hannibal, but Erik ten Hag wanted to keep him. And you know what? Fair play. Fair play on Erik ten Hag, having the confidence in the player, showing the belief in the player, and giving him the opportunity to bring him into the team and actually give him some game time. I think that's really, really important for me. Right, let's see what people saying in the chat. Marcello says he absolutely deserves a new contract. He put in such a big performance every time he absolutely plays for the badge. I 100% agree with that. Elijah says Hannibal needs more game time. Yes, I definitely agree with that as well. Mumra says Hannibal, Kobe Mainu, Dan Gore are much better options than Donny or McTominay. I 100% agree with you on that as well. G-Ham says he's much better than McTominay. Give him the contract. 25 grand only, though. He's on his way to becoming a United player. Yeah. Definitely, mate. Definitely. 100%. I think he's the right person for the job. But yeah, get involved in the poll. Let me know who you're going with. I've already given my vote on it. I said Sheikh Jassim. I think... Actually, no, I didn't. I said Sergeant Ratcliffe, didn't I? I said if they were offering exactly the same, clearing the debt, building a new stadium, all the rest of it, I would go with Sergeant Ratcliffe. I would. But they're not offering the same. So it's a bit of a stupid question. I get that. I know people are probably thinking this is a pointless poll, but there's people in the chat who kind of wanted this, so I've done it. Right, let's see what else we've got planned for the rest of the show. I wanted to talk a little bit about the potential lineup for the game on Saturday, and I wanted to get you guys' opinions on it, okay? So this is what it's looking like the lineup's going to be. Obviously, Lisandro Martinez is injured. So I think this is what we're going to start with on Saturday. So I think it's going to be Onana in goal, Reguilon at left back, Harry Maguire, Varane and Dalot. Then you're going to have a defensive two of Amrabat and Casemiro, Bruno Fernandes as the centre attacking midfielder, Marcus Rashford on the left, Rasmus Højlund down the middle, and Bruno and Mason Mount on the right. I'm pretty happy with that team, I am. I know people will say Hannibal deserves to play. I know people will say Pellistri, Garnacho and all the rest of it. But we know that Rasmus Højlund, Bruno Fernandes, Rashford are all going to come straight back into that team. And you know what? I think if we do have Amrabat in that team and Mason Mount, I think we'll still easily go and beat Crystal Palace on Saturday. I'm not really too concerned about it. But let me know what you're thinking. Who would be your starting 11 for the game on Saturday? Let's see what else people are saying in the chat. Luma says, Kieran, how important is it giving game time to a player to see his potential? 100% it is. And we can see Hannibal Mejbri's potential now. 100%. Scott says Sergeant Ratcliffe has wrecked 2 football clubs already. Never Sergeant Ratcliffe. Fair enough. I guess people could argue that Sheikh Jassim, well, not Sheikh Jassim personally, but Qatar-owned clubs, i.e. PSG, have, you know, been ruined by Qatar ownership, I guess you could argue. If you want to look at it from a fair coin. See if they've got any more comments coming in. I think that's all of the comments for today. People are putting in their predicted lineups, which is all good. Fred says the senior players should tutor Hannibal on his tackling problems. Yeah, that is the one thing that I would agree with. I think he does still show quite a rawness to his game. He does still have that tendency to fly into tackles. He was very, very close to getting a red card last night. I think he was 1 tackle away from getting a red. And I was sat there on the watch along for anybody who was here joining me with it saying, if he puts in 1 more tackle, that's going to be it. He's going to be sent off. And Erik ten Hag took him off at exactly the right moment where we could walk away from that game with nothing but positivity. Because if he'd have got a red, that would have been really, really disappointing. Amy says, I want more playtime for Pellistri and Garnacho. Yeah, I agree with you. I just think that I just think you are going to see Rashford and Bruno in that team. It's just going to happen, to be honest. Right, I'm going to wrap the video up here, guys. Quickly, the poll was 89% in Sheikh Jassim's favour and 11% in Sergeant Ratcliffe's favour. So there you go. Thank you so much to everyone who's joined me on the show this evening. I will be back tomorrow morning for your usual morning show. Please do make sure to smash a like on the video on your way out, and please do subscribe to the channel if you are new. This has been Daily Red Devil. I've been Kieran, and I'll catch you all later.